the mother of one of the two all-star high school cheerleaders that was shot after one of them accidentally got into the wrong car in a parking lot in Elgin, Texas, has revealed that the vehicle they fled was left riddled in bullet holes. Payton, Washington, 18 years of age, and Heather Roth was shot multiple times by a man sitting in a vehicle that Heather Roth mistakenly got into as they tried to carpool on their way home from practice. Payton, Washington was hit in the leg and back. She suffered damage to multiple organs. She had her spleen removed. She remains in critical condition. Heather Roth sustained a graze wound and was treated at the scene. So we're told that Heather Roth, one of the 4 cheerleaders, was in her friend's car. She got out of the car. This happened just after midnight. She got out of her friend's car. She walked to what she believed was her own vehicle. It looked the same as her own vehicle. It was parked in the same area that Heather normally parks. So she thought to herself, oh look, there's my car. That's where I parked earlier. But she made a mistake. Heather opened the door of what she believed was her own car. She got into the car. She sat down, and then she discovered that there was a man sat in the passenger seat. She was scared. What the heck is this guy doing in my car? So Heather Roth quickly exited the vehicle. Again, she initially thought it was her own car. Perhaps she was a little bit confused at that point. So she left the vehicle. She went back to her friend's car, 4 people in the car. Payton, Washington, now Heather Roth, and her 2 friends, or their 2 friends, whose names are Kiana and Genesis. The 4 of them were in the car, and the man exited the vehicle that Heather Roth had entered and walked towards the friend's car with the 4 cheerleading girls sat in it. Heather Roth rolled down the window. She wanted to apologize to the man. She wanted to say, hey, sorry, I thought that was my car. Shouldn't have got into your car. Apologies for that. No harm, no foul. She wanted to apologize. But the man had other ideas. The man threw up his hands. He didn't say anything, but he then started shooting at all 4 occupants of the car. Witnesses said that the man shot at the vehicle multiple times before fleeing. Heather Roth's mother has said that the car was left riddled in bullet holes. Multiple shots fired. Again, thankfully, Heather Roth was merely grazed. She was treated on the scene. She's fine. As far as I understand, Kiana and Genesis, 2 other cheerleaders in the car, were unharmed, as far as I understand. Hopefully I have that right. Apologies if I don't. But tragically, Payton, Washington was struck multiple times. She was hit in the leg and back. She suffered damage to multiple organs. She's had her spleen removed. Within the Daily Mail article that I've read through, Payton Washington's father says that Payton is a true fighter. Not only is she renowned through the world of cheerleading, the scene of cheerleading, not only is she renowned across America, arguably across the world, but she was born with 1 lung. She was born with significant medical issues, physical weaknesses, let's say, yet she strived and succeeded in being a very well-respected cheerleader. And now she's been shot, her spleen has been removed, multiple organs damaged. So let's hope and pray that Payton Washington does make a full recovery. There is a GoFundMe to help pay for medical expenses for Payton Washington. Hopefully she pulls through, but we are told that Payton Washington is currently in critical condition. So the shooter did flee the scene, but he has been caught. I think he handed himself in. His name, Pedro Tello Rodriguez Jr., 25 years of age, arrested and charged with deadly conduct, which is a 3rd-degree felony. He's been held on a $500,000 bond. Now, I'm going to comment on that. $500,000 is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but my understanding is that to be released on bond, you don't have to pay the full amount. I'm sure it varies from state to state, and I'm not quite sure of what the requirements are for Texas, but I would assume that suspects are able to be released from jail should they be prepared to pay a certain proportion of the bond amount, and I believe that amount is typically 10 to 20%. So $500,000 is a high bond. Not going to overly argue that point. To be able to come up with 10 or 20% of that amount, $50,000 or $100,000, is a big ask for most people, but it's not a big ask for everybody. Some people do have that kind of money. Can I say even gang members are fairly likely to have that kind of money? So what's my point there? My point is, yes, 500,000 is a high bond, but why not make it higher? Why not make it 2 million, 3 million, 5 million? Pedro Tello Rodriguez Jr., 25 years of of age, has been charged, and he's the prime suspect in a situation, in a crime, in which he walked up to and shot multiple times at a car full of 4 young cheerleaders. I'm going to say defenseless. I mean, there weren't posing any threat. Even if we're to argue that walking into his car, distressed, alerted, concerned, Pedro Tello Rodriguez Jr., that moment came and went. Heather Roth left the vehicle promptly. She walked away. She got into another car. She was posing no immediate threat. So why risk letting this guy have the position of bailing out? It's not the right thing to do, Texas. Next time, increase the bond higher. And the next part is also something that I object to. Pedro Tello Rodriguez Jr. could face anywhere between 2 and 10 years in prison for third-degree felony. So this guy shoots up a car full of 4 cheerleaders, strikes one multiple times, puts that person in critical condition. They may die. Payton Washington may die. Payton Washington may never recover from her injuries. She's had her spleen removed, multiple organs damaged. And of course, this type of situation causes all kinds of trauma. I would imagine this would put an end to Payton Washington's cheerleading career. And again, it could take her life. The other 3 cheerleaders were incredibly lucky to avoid serious injury. So Heather Roth got grazed by a bullet, and I believe Kiana and Genesis were unhit. Hopefully I have that right. They were blessed. How is it in any way justifiable for the shooter, the gunman, who shot at 4, I'm going to say defenseless cheerleaders, sat in their own vehicle, and only give that gunman between 2 and 10 years in prison? That just beggars belief. Texas, maybe that's a preliminary charge. Maybe that those charges will be altered, changed, increased. And I hope that is the case. And I hope they're not increased to murder, because I hope Payton Washington, of course, does survive. So again, there is a GoFundMe to help cover the costs of Payton Washington's medical expenses. I'm going to wrap things up just by mentioning a quote from Payton's father, his name Callan Washington. Payton's accomplished everything she has with only one lung from when she was born. She's as tough as they come. She's beautiful inside and out. She makes everybody around her a better person, a better athlete, a better student, a better Christian. All of it. So I'm going to say a short prayer for the full recovery of Payton Washington. I do hope that her GoFundMe is adequate in covering her medical expenses in the immediate sense and ongoing. I mean, it's a shame that so many of us, I mean, practically all of us, are dependent on GoFundMes. And I'm going to say this as well, and I don't wish to take away from the situation at hand, but it is a shame that some GoFundMes yield massive donations and others don't so much. Some people are looked favorably upon, some victims are looked favorably upon, others are just kind of ignored, overlooked. It's a shame. I think Payton Washington's GoFundMe is pretty healthy though. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point. Texas, increase your bonds moving forward, and you've got to do something about your charges. I mean, that is inadequate. Facing between 2 and 10 years in prison, not good enough. For a psychopath that goes around shooting 4 defenseless cheerleaders for no real provocation, not good enough. So if you do appreciate the content, the coverage, the commentary, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. Consider joining the memberships. Stick around. I'll be continuing to work on the channel, continuing to provide multiple videos. Going to be doing some other things. I'll start making some compilation videos. I want to cover some older cases, like cold cases, more prominent, famous cases. And maybe at some point I'll do live streams or something. But yeah, I'm putting a lot of effort in. If you're in a position to thank me for that, please do, and take care.